is Colin, in case you didn't know that yet. I'm sure that everybody in the room here uses the internet probably on a daily basis, and I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a great place to learn new skills, to connect with friends, and to learn what's going on in the world. But, and because the access to this information is so free and open, you can look up pretty much anything that you can imagine, probably some things that you wish that you hadn't. But there are forces out there who are trying to constrict and control our access to the information that's available online in the name of safety and security. And the time has come now that we need to step up and protect our rights for freedom on the internet and to secure our access to the information against corporations and governments that want to make a profit off of a less educated public. I'm going to be telling you about a story about a man named Bradley Manning, who's already lost an awful lot in the fight for transparency. I'm going to tell you about some legislation that's been put up to try to control our access to the internet. And then finally, I'm going to tell you about a project where you can go and help and try to secure our internet rights for the future. Bradley Manning was a military intelligence analyst. He had access to all of these servers full of classified information, and he became famous a few years ago when he leaked a bunch of this information to WikiLeaks. He was deemed a threat to the people, he was charged with aiding the enemy, but the information that he released was a lot of stuff that our government was doing illegally. We were covering up war crimes by classifying the information, like we have an official policy to ignore torture in Iraq. We've done cover-ups for child abuse that's been committed by military contractors under our employ. And the biggest one was there's a video taken from a helicopter by one of the pilots or whatever. And there were a couple of photojournalists from a company called Reuters who were out trying to take photos of, I don't know, whatever their story was, but the helicopter saw them, assumed that the cameras were weapons, got permission, and opened fire, killing them and 10 other civilians that were standing by. A van drove up to try to carry away some of the bodies, and they fired on the van, killing a couple of kids that were sitting in the front seat. Obviously, this is the sort of information that anyone with a conscience would want to make public, and so he did, and then he spent 10 months in solitary confinement. He was denied sun, exercise, interaction, and clothes sometimes. He was been held without trial actually for about 1,000 days now. The court-martial keeps getting pushed back, and he's never been actually, even though he's never actually been brought up on these charges, the president has stated publicly, oh, well, he's guilty anyway, which is a huge breach of due process. Because of Bradley Manning and some other incidences, the Congress and legislature have tried introducing bills like the Stop Online Piracy Act and the Protect Intellectual Property Act, SOPA and PIPA. And these are bills that it's supposed to be for safety and for security and protecting the artists and whatever, but really what the effects of the bills are is to give the government tools to monitor information. It gives service providers the ability to block content just off of an accusation. There's no due process involved anymore. And it allows them to suppress free speech without any sort of oversight whatsoever. And these laws keep being reintroduced. And there's actually one, these both happened in 2011, but just like a week ago, there's something called CISPA. It's something that's trying to stop cyber terrorism. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's an executive order that's essentially going to do the same thing that's being talked about. And so the time has come to put a stop to this. We need to be a little more proactive if we're going to keep legislation like this from coming out. And so there's a couple of communities that have been working to draft an Internet Bill of Rights. It's essentially a mirror of the Bill of Rights that we already have, but it applies specifically to the digital realm. It would do things like ensure that you can't block websites without an actual court order. It ensures that you'd have the right to privacy, you'd be able to secure your data, and you wouldn't be culpable for other activity that's been uploaded onto your site. If somebody else uploads something illegally, they would be responsible, instead of, like in the case of the Pirate Bay or RapidShare, you couldn't target those companies for what the users had done. You can find this at www.reddit.com/r/FIA. It stands for Free Internet Act. And they can use help from everybody. The biggest part right now is we've got to get the word out and raise this in people's awarenesses, talk to Congress people, and try to explain to them that this is something we really need, because something like this would prevent other laws like SOPA and PIPA and CISPA from being brought up in the future. So just to reiterate the stuff that I said, Bradley Manning has been made into a war criminal for trying to make transparent information that should have been available to the public. The government has been being bullied by lobbies and other corporations to try to restrict access to content online just on the grounds that they disagree with it. And there are things that we can do. The Free Internet Act and the Internet Bill of Rights is something that everybody can help with. Just got to get the word out, and maybe we can keep the internet safe.